Welcome to Dependable Flame, where we explore vintage petrol lighters, ashtrays, tobacciana, and other useful mechanisms. Make yourself at home.
Today we are going to talk about how to value your old cigarette lighters, or how to determine how much money you can get for them. There are two answers that you see repeated often in the Facebook lighter groups. Number one is it's worth as much as somebody is willing to pay for it. And then its bastard cousin, check eBay sold listings. Both of these answers are technically correct. They are gross oversimplifications to the point that the answers are meaningless. So what I would like to do is dig a little bit deeper and figure out how you can determine what to ask for or how much you should be selling your vintage cigarette lighter for. Number one, it's worth what someone will pay for it. Now that's just about the most obvious answer that anybody could give. I don't know many people that are paying for things that they aren't willing to pay for, so I just don't really understand that answer at all. That's just a lazy answer, somebody that doesn't want to help. The other one is helpful somewhat. It at least steers you in the right direction. But there are a multitude of factors that come into play when you go to check those sold eBay auctions that will determine whether or not you get the answer that you're really looking for. The first thing, and I believe this is the most important, is was it sold in an auction or a buy it now listing? I believe that there are very few actual auction listings on eBay for old cigarette lighters that end where the actual value of that lighter should be placed. Sometimes they go way above where the value should have actually been, but most often they go considerably below where that value should have been, simply because an auction of 5, 7, or 10 days is not going to get as many eyes on it as a buy it now listing at a higher price where offers are fielded and you have many more prospective buyers who see the listing than you would in a short, limited, few days to a little over a week auction. The opposite is also true though. There are many times that people get into a bidding war and somebody determines they got the money to spend, they don't care what they're going to pay for it, and that happens. So you can benefit from that.
Or a seller can benefit.
But that's not going to tell you what the actual value of that lighter is, except for in that one specific case with that one specific lighter. But I routinely purchase lighters on eBay that are listed at a low starting price in an auction that, the same thing could be anywhere from 1 day to 10 days. And as I said, I often have purchased lighters in those auctions and then turned around and sold them for a huge profit because the person that listed them did not realize what the value was, nor really cared to find out before trying to sell it. So I get the ease of listing a lighter in an auction like that and then you just living with it. But if you really want to get what your lighter is valued, then you need to sell it in a buy it now listing. Set the price a little bit higher than what you expect to get, and then turn on the option for prospective buyers to make an offer. You'll get the offer as soon as you get a buyer who's willing to pay for it. A little variation on the first answer to the question. Another thing that should be considered when looking at the results of an auction listing is what time of day did that auction end? An auction that ends at 7 a.m. is not going to have near as many eyes on it as an auction that ends at 7 p.m. or any other time in the prime time of the evening. These little nuances are things that can't necessarily be filtered out in an eBay search. I'm going to show you how to go into the search function from the eBay app, or you can do the same thing from the eBay website, but it's easier to do from the app.
So when you search for anything over here on eBay, let's just say that we type in Cygnus. I'm on my iPad here, so don't judge my typing skills. You can see if we type in Cygnus with all categories, we get many results. Over 15,000. Because Cygnus is a fairly common used word.
All of these nuances of the search, though, cannot be filtered out when you are analyzing the search result. Another little nuance is you can very easily miss an eBay auction result altogether by simply toggling the wrong category.
Say we put in Zippo. You go over here under the filter, and you can see where the default setting is for it to just search the category of Zippo. So you want to go change that to all categories. You see under all categories, we've got 92,000 plus. If we go back under the Zippo category, there are 77,000. So you're possibly missing out on somewhere in the neighborhood of 15,000 or more Zippo listings by which category you look at. Something to consider.
When I do an eBay search, I always search all categories. There's no reason, unless it's just something that is very common, where you're going to have all kinds of results that don't make any sense.
Like we witnessed earlier with the Cygnus results.
It's just easier to wade through the ones that aren't relevant than it is to miss the ones that you would by choosing a certain category.
Probably the most important aspect that you need to understand about using the eBay search interface, as we talked about earlier, I always search all categories until I run into something that I'm just tired of sifting through, which isn't very often. Then the next thing you want to check when you are trying to determine the value of a lighter that you have, you want to check sold listings. When you click sold, that's going to bring up sold and completed. But as you can see here, under Zippo, all categories, we have over 53,000 sold or completed over the last 90 days. Then once we get to that, we can filter those by ending recently or highest or lowest price are probably going to be the most appropriate. Now, obviously, we probably are going to be searching for something, or I should say you are going to be searching for something a little bit more narrow than just Zippo. So let's just say we were going to look up black crackle. Zippo. And you can see it's still under the sold listings. So there were 275 black crackles sold or completed in the last 90 days. Man, that's a lot. Then, okay, we've already got them filtered by highest price. So let's go ahead and take a look at them. It's hard to tell sometimes because it is a buy it now price with a make offer accepted. and so it just marks it out. So you won't know unless you can see it adds in the shipping the way we had it filtered. But you can see where the 675 here is marked out. So we don't know exactly how much they paid for that, but we know the one above it they paid $690 for, and the one below it they paid $657.99. So it's safe to say they probably paid at least $658 for it. But all of these, as we said, are black crackles that sold on eBay in the last 90 days. 275 of them. Let's go ahead and scroll all the way down if it didn't take too long here. These bottom ones were obviously not World War II black crackles. There's a Park Sherman. So see, there's a lot of black crackles on here that weren't World War IIs. That's one reason why there's so many of them listed. There is a World War II. Is that an eBay listing? I'm sorry, a Zippo listing, and yes, it is a Zippo. If you zoom in on that, you can see where the printing accentuated there by what was left of the paint. So you get the gist here, how to operate it. We keep going up here. These two right here, 170. When I say black crackle, World War II era black crackle Zippos. There are two of them here in the $175 neighborhood. So anyway, that just gives you an idea of how you can go in, how you can change the filters over here to see the listings that you need to see. Generally, all categories, sold listings, the relevant search terms will get you where you need to be. The eBay search interface is a minefield to someone who doesn't know how to get around it, how to maneuver it or manipulate it. If you understand a few of these techniques, though, then you can work your way around the site or the application and determine how much your lighters are worth and how much you could wisely ask for them. Until next time. Another thing that should be considered, another thing